Welcome to Home with Simone. My name is Simone, and a huge thank you to every single one of you, whether new or existing subscribers. Thank you so much for your continual support. Today, we're going to be doing some meal planning or meal prep for 2 weeks. So first thing I do when I get anything that has a label that I'm going to portion out, I look at the nutritional facts and I see how much is a serving. That's super important because you don't want to eyeball it and then you're consuming a larger amount than necessary. A serving of the smoothie here is 1 cup. So I couldn't find my 1 cup scoop, so I'm using my half a cup, and I'm just putting 2 of those in there, which is the same as 1 cup. Now, when I'm doing it like this, I'm not, going to sit there and pick out a couple different fruits because it looks like a little too much. 1 or 2 over is not going to be a big issue. But this makes it easy because if I want to have a smoothie, I don't have to think. I can just open the freezer, grab one of these packs out, put it in the blender, add my ice, and I'm good to go. I don't normally add yogurt or juice when I make my smoothies. It's literally just the fruit and the ice. If I do add a yogurt, it's something like Yup. I don't normally use like the thicker ones, even though I think I might try to see how the Greek yogurt will work in a smoothie. It should be fine, but I've never done it before. When I make it, I'll be sure to document that so you guys can see, and I'll let you know if I liked it, the texture, the taste, or if not. But as it stands right now, I just put fruit, ice, a little bit of water. I turn on the blender, I mix it up, and it's delicious. So the next thing that I do is my veggies. Same thing. I look to see how much is a serving. In this instance, it is 3 pieces. This is spinach, frozen spinach that I have. You guys will notice that I am doing larger amounts and smaller amounts. That's because I do portion out my foods to incorporate meals for a single person, or if I'm going to be cooking for my son and myself, a family. The single portions will just be the 3, and the family portion will be double that. Again, just to ensure that we are consuming the right portion as per the nutritional guide. That's one of the most important things. I find that a lot of times when you see people are doing these, plan with me for the week, and you don't really see what they're measuring out. They just put stuff in a container, and so you don't really know, and you try to imitate it, and then for all you know, you're consuming too much or too little. This is the already cooked chicken. The nutritional facts tell me that half of the package is what is the serving. And I know that because when you look at the back of this one, it tells you the sodium, the carbs, but it doesn't say per the entire thing. It specifies per half. So I just eyeball this. I go right down the middle with half of the package and I portion it out that way. I always find pre-cooked meats to be a little bit on the salty side, but this one, the sodium's not too bad. And it's nice to have something like this for those days where you're tired or you want something light. It's great to mix it in with pasta. It's great on a salad. There's so many different things you can do with the shredded chicken breast like this that comes in handy. Now I'm going to go to my veggies. So I do have a pattern that I follow. I do my frozen vegetables and my frozen fruits first, and then I'll go on to cutting my fresh fruits and my fresh veggies. In this instance, I don't have any fresh fruits to cut, so I'm just going right to my veggies. I do it like this because right after I cut my fresh veggies, I go ahead and start doing my meats. And so some of the fresh vegetables that I'm cutting or seasonings that I'm cutting, I use when I season my meats. So it just works for me, and it just has a much better flow, and I don't feel like I'm scattered all over the place, not knowing what I'm doing next. So I'm just cleaning the peppers. I mean, everybody cuts their vegetables, however works for you. It doesn't really matter. For me, I just like to slice it in larger, thicker pieces because then I'm able to use it for different things throughout the week, whether I want to throw it in a pasta or a chili, or if I want to put it in a stir fry. If I cut it up too slim and I freeze it, it becomes very limp when I cook it after. So that's the reason why I cut it this thick. The other veggies I'm putting into the bowl, you'll notice I'm cutting them up a little bit on the smaller side. That's because that's what I'm going to use to season my meats with. I just use regular sandwich bags, believe it or not. I don't even bother with freezer bags anymore. I did try them at one point. I actually tried freezer bags and the regular sandwich bags, and there was no difference in the quality of what I put in it, how it was frozen. It all looked the same. Everything tasted the same. The freezer bags just cost a bit more. Considering the amount of bags that I use, I go for the most cost-effective ones, which is the sandwich bags. And again, these items are not staying in those bags for a long period of time. I don't like my foods to stay frozen for a long time, so I think 2 weeks is a pretty good amount of time that you still preserve some of the nutrients in that food. Is it just me, or does everyone have that favorite knife that you love to use no matter how dull it gets, no matter if you have new knives or not, you always fall back on this particular knife? That's what I'm dealing with right now. I love this knife. There's this one and then a paring knife that I have, and it doesn't matter what other kind of knives I get. I always fall back on these ones. I'm just super comfortable using them. And I really should get another set because honestly, they're pretty much dull. Like I'm literally sawing through. It doesn't look as bad because the video is fast forwarded or sped up. But I am literally sawing through my vegetables. At this point, I thought maybe I should just give up and take out one of my sharper knives. But I just kept on going. I mix my yellow and orange peppers together because I don't really have a lot of them. You always tend to get more of the red peppers when you buy the pack of 4. So I like the Argentina shrimp. These come raw. And again, looking at the back at the nutritional facts, 3 shrimps is a serving. It's 70 calories. You can see there that the carbs are the protein, the sodium. So that's one of the reasons why I like these ones. They're nice and big. They're on the healthier side. And I can do a lot more with 3 shrimp than I can with some of the little tiny ones. These ones are really meaty. They're nice and thick. And even after you cook them, they stay pretty big. I find a lot of shrimp, the smaller ones, when you cook them, they shrink into nothing. And then you literally feel like you're just eating shrimp flavor instead of actually having the meat of the shrimp. So I do like to shell my shrimp before I freeze them, clean it, take the veins out, all that good stuff. Again, the point of doing this is to making meals really quick so that you're not wasting time having to do this when you're hungry, because that's when we order food. We tend to order food when we're hungry and preparing it takes too long. So to eliminate that, I like to take a day out, spend my morning doing these things to make it a lot easier for me to be able to cook my meals throughout the week. And one day doing this, honestly, is just a little bit of time in the morning for me. It's not that big of a deal. I find it really relaxing. I actually have a movie on right now that I'm watching while I'm getting this prepared. So I just put a little bit of vinegar to cut and you'll see me use that quite a bit to cut the fat, to help clean it, the freshness, all that good stuff. And the shrimp shouldn't really smell fresh in a bad way. It should smell fresh in a good way, just like fish. So if you open your package of shrimp and it's one of those funky smells, I don't recommend moving forward with that. So I'm putting some shrimp in here that are not seasoned. I like to do that with the meat. Sometimes you'll see me put a portion of it that doesn't have anything on it and the rest that does. That's just in case somebody else wants to use it and they would like to add their own spices to it. These are some of my choice seasonings. I never know what I'm going to add to it, to be quite honest. I just open my spice drawer and I'm like, oh, this looks good. Let's try this. And I just put a combination of spices together that I like, and that's how I season everything. So a lot of times people will say, oh, what's the recipe or what did you do? Guys, I have no idea. So this time I just decided, let me just show you what I'm putting in. And if you want to try some of the combinations, at least you can see. I don't measure my spices. I just go visually. If you're adding a lot of different salts, so your seasoning salt, your garlic salt, those things, be aware of the sodium. You may want to add a little bit less than half of what you would normally use if you were using that spice on its own, because when everything's added up, the sodium in that meal will be really high. So keep that in mind when using your seasonings. I also like to portion out my burgers. And again, it just makes it a lot easier when you're making something for dinner. You're not taking out the huge box, and then, especially if you're hungry, you tend to overcook. You may, instead of doing 2, you may do 4 burgers because you're just so hungry and you think you can eat that amount. So I have this portioned out into 2 portions, and I don't eat mine with a bun right now as I'm going through my weight loss journey, but I do eat it on a salad. Sometimes I'll have it with vegetables. I'll just cut it up in slices, things like that. So burgers can be used in many different ways. It doesn't have to just be in a bun. And if I feel like having a burger, I just have it between lettuce, and it works out perfectly fine, and it tastes just as good. While I portion out my chicken, I want to take this time to talk to you guys about some tips and tricks to help curb your cravings. My mom, I was raised hearing most of these all my life. And then during my program, if you guys haven't seen the first part of my introduction to my weight loss journey, I'll link it in the description. But during the program, we do have a team of medical professionals, and included in that team is a dietitian. And when speaking to the dietitian about some of these tips and tricks that my mom has told us from the time I could remember, she also confirmed that those were excellent. Now, I do have to give a quick disclaimer. I am not a medical professional. This is just tips and tricks that work for me. So if you guys want to try any of these in any of the videos that I'm doing pertaining my weight loss journey, please make sure that you speak to the appropriate medical professional and make sure that the things that you want to try based on my experience actually fits where you are in your health currently. It's very important to make sure that what you're doing is not going to hinder your success, but it's going to add to you being successful on your own journeys. So let's get into those tips. So we're going to start off with my tips from my mom, because you guys know mama always knows best. And even though these are tips I grew up hearing, like I said, when I brought it up with the dietitian, they thought that it was awesome. So this is just to add that mama knows best. She's got 5 stars because these are really useful. And I have done this a lot, especially at this point in my journey. So first thing to curb a craving. And I'll do a video that talks about cravings and what triggers these things, but let's curve them right now. First tip is, if you're hungry in between your meals or shortly after you've just eaten the meal, it could actually be thirst. Sometimes being thirsty, the body presents it as hunger. So you want to make sure that you have a sufficient amount of water to drink. And then if you don't feel hungry after that, it wasn't true hunger. The other tip is brush your teeth. In the islands, normally after every meal, you brush your teeth. You brush your teeth when you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth. You brush it after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner. In the Western world, a lot of people brush their teeth in the morning, some just in the evening time. And I noticed that back home, I never really felt hungry in between my meals. And my mom always said, brush your teeth. So up here, I've tried that on my current weight loss journey, where I just brush my teeth when I felt hungry, and it really does curve it. It wasn't that I was hungry. It's the distraction that was created, getting up, physically moving, brushing my teeth, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm fine. The other thing is get active. If you're sitting still, you're not moving around, and you start feeling hungry, and again, this is all relating to not truthful hunger. The body, when bored, sometimes will make you think it's hungry. Get up, go for a walk, go for a shower, put on music, dance, clean. That's the easiest one. If I'm sitting and I feel hungry and I know I shouldn't be hungry because I ate an hour ago, get up, go wash the kitchen or wash some dishes, clean the kitchen, clean the bathroom, vacuum. There's so many things around the home that you can do. And the bonus about getting up and physically moving is that you're actually including activity, which counts as your daily exercise. So there's a lot of ways to squeeze that in. The other trick is if you're feeling really hungry and you shouldn't be hungry, think about where you are, because sometimes hunger is triggered by smells. Sometimes I'm sitting in my apartment and I can smell somebody else cooking and I'm like, that smells good. And all of a sudden I'm hungry. I'm not hungry. I just ate, So at times it's good, if possible, to remove yourself from what's triggering that craving, what's making you feel hungry. If you're in the mall and you're walking through the food court, whether you eat or not, naturally, we always want to look for something else. I want a bubble tea. I want an ice cream. So if you have a difficult time with self-control, just don't walk through the food court. Take a different route to get to where you need to be. Avoid that trigger. So these are some of the little tricks and tips that really do help with identifying if it's true hunger or if I need to supplement that by doing something else. This is going to contribute to your healthy intake of your nutrients because you're not adding things in when you shouldn't. And that's going to help with weight management. So let me go ahead and go through these tips one more time. Brushing your teeth. That doesn't just help to curb the appetite, the craving that you're feeling when you shouldn't be, but it also contributes to healthy oral hygiene, which is a bonus. It's a win-win in this situation. Consuming water, drinking water. You can have a bottle of water. You can have, a cup of water. Just try to make sure that you're actually consuming a good portion of water. The benefits of this is that you're staying hydrated. And it's very important, especially on a weight loss journey or getting healthy, that we give our body the right amount of fluids. Notice I didn't say juice. No, water. That's the key. The next thing, getting up and physically moving. Not only does it help with circulation, it increases your mood. And guys, you're burning calories and you don't even know it. Getting up and cleaning your kitchen, cleaning your bathroom, vacuuming your home, especially if you're not naturally a very active person, that contributes to your exercise. You can count that as additional activity because it exceeds what you would normally do. So the benefit is you're getting up, you're moving around, your mood will increase, your blood flow, your circulation is on point, and you're burning calories, and you're getting your home nice and clean. And who doesn't want a clean home? And the final step is be aware of where you are when you feel hungry. Again, this hunger we're talking about is not true hunger. So if you are, for example, at the mall, in the food court, and you start to feel hungry, avoid those places. Be really aware of your surroundings because those things are triggers and can cause you to consume additional foods that are not necessary. And then you walk around feeling uncomfortable, you're feeling heavy. Some people will experience feelings of guilt. So why put yourself through that? Just avoid it completely. So this is what 2 weeks of meal planning looks like. And really, this is just the frozen aspect of things. If I'm going to make potatoes or pasta or something like that, that is always done fresh. I have my chicken, I've got my burgers, I've got my veggies, my fruit, and I also have a little bit of seafood, which is my shrimp. I hope today's video was super helpful and informative. I am having such a great experience on my journey, and I am so happy and excited to share this with you guys. So I do hope that it's useful information. Organization is one of the most important steps when planning your meals. And so to do that, what I do is Even when I'm putting them in the freezer, I have everything organized so it's easy. I don't just throw them in the freezer and hope that I stick my hand and pull out something that I want. I put them in the containers. I have all of my family size meats together. And this is what this bigger container is for. So anything in here is shared portions. And then I also have 2 packs, which are larger in case I'm cooking for more than 2 people. And then the front little container I have here is all single servings. So if Shiloh wants to just go into the freezer and grab something to make for himself, he's not overeating. Same with me. If I want to have something different than what he's having, I can just go grab a single portion. Then I put them in my stand-up freezer. I love my vertical freezer. It is so easy. I don't have to, again, dig on the bottom to get anything out. It's just right in front of me. And that also helps prevent a lot of unnecessary waste because I can see what I need, I can see what I have, and I can see the space in the freezer. So I'm not over purchasing on items. This is my cabbage that I have sliced up. I don't portion that out. I just slice the whole cabbage. And same with the bok choy. And I put them in the freezer. The bok choy is actually not sliced. It's whole. And I just put them in these larger bags. And then this is my zucchini that I have over here that's sliced, kind of like lasagna slices. And I also have that in the freezer bag on the bottom. And those I don't need to put into a container because those are the only things that go in that part of the freezer. In my freezer attached to my fridge, that's where I keep my smaller portions of my veggies and then like my peppers and things like that, and also my frozen fruit in their appropriate portion sizes. Also, I have my ice in here. And when I talk to you guys about OptiFast, you'll see why I have so much ice. And then this little tray is where I keep the extra things like my paratha, or if there's any butter or anything that needs to be in the freezer, goes in that. I am looking forward to continue to share my weight loss journey with you guys. And if you're interested in that content, please don't forget, turn on your notification bells. Also, say hi to me in the comment section and leave me a big thumbs up. I'll see you all in the very next video.